Hi guys, I'm going to start with the Esoteric Buddhism of Japan Oracle cards, and we have number 3 with Hosho Norai. And the mantra is Om Ratna Sambhava Traha. I can't pronounce that. I'm so bad at that. But it says looking at things equally. And, they always give you like a little bit of like a education, I would say. And if you look at, it would be the hand that's down. That is the wish granting mudra. And they're sitting on the throne of the horse. It says, remove your personal filter and see things for what they are. Cast away your prejudices. Make appropriate judgments and treasure things that are truly important. I needed this today because, I keep trying to tell myself not to doom scroll. And I don't know what happens. You hear something terrible and then whatever. I'm also one of those people that, like, when I go to work and I have this one coworker who loves to, like, announce all negative and terrible things. I always tell her, I'm like, I really don't need to know about puppies drowning in a well. But anyway, it's that type of thing. And I know that I get absorbed in like sad things and terrible things. And so I should know better. But, I got to remind myself. So I'm reminding you guys and reminding myself. So when I pulled this card, it was like, yep, okay, that was meant for me today. But anyway, so the wisdom from Buddha says, Hosho Norai removes your filter of preconceived notions. Humans inherently perceive things through a filter of self. Thus, it is impossible to truly understand how others view things. Do not judge things as true simply because you feel that you have seen them. It's possible that you've only seen them through your own lens of prejudice and self-preconceptions. Put yourself in another's shoes. Looking at things from a fair and balanced perspective is a treasure greater than material possessions. And then a deeper look says, Hosho Norai is one of 5 compassionate Buddhists charged with the great wisdom to look at all things equally. Having fulfilled the blessings of his spiritual training, he bestows fortune, happiness, and prosperity equally to all life on earth. Riding a horse, Hosho Norai extends his right hand in the wish-granting mudra, the empty palm capable of holding unlimited treasures to bestow upon us, the treasures which he sees in our hearts. He looks at the whole of humanity with fair and just eyes, finding what it is that we truly hope for and graciously providing it. The blessings, fortune, happiness, and prosperity, the washing away of past transgressions. Oh, I can't say that word. But yeah, I think there's another layer to that too. I think there is kind of, there's a difficulty here, I think, with me personally, because there's like, you understand that there's this great big thing, right? That there's great big thing that is causing a lot of problems. I don't believe in like inherent evil. I believe it's people, misunderstanding life and, being misdirected and feeding off each other. And then it creates a big ball of that. So, how do you counteract that? Sometimes the first instinct, and I have this strong instinct because I do this. I mean, a couple of years ago, I want to say like younger me would have been like, I'd have been, anyway. I've learned some lessons. And not to say that those people that are passionate and really fighting for injustices and doing things, not to say that those people are wrong. I admire those people so much. But it's not my time right now to do those certain things in that way. My way is different right now. I am following a different path. And it has nothing to do with me feeling weak or that. It's my own inner peace. And there's another angle that I feel needs explored. And I also feel like it doesn't help me raise my daughters. Because, I raise my girls to be independent and tough and to stick up for yourselves. But there's also another layer. There's a layer of extending peace and love and really understanding how that's the core of how we don't get there, right? That's how we don't get there. But the biggest thing is like, I really can't allow myself to get dragged down. Because if we're constantly fighting, there's things that happen. There's things that people will make decisions in split second reactivity, and then that's how people get hurt. That's how people make assumptions. That's how people get into the whole tornado of bad decisions and making the wrong assumptions and getting themselves into a certain situation that you can't really get out of, right? So I'm going to try to stay off that topic so much, but if this is something that is a little bit more personal, say that you're in a situation with somebody you love, or your situation with something's not working out right. Maybe kind of step back and kind of see how you're being defensive and how you are, maybe putting up that wall. And so with that, I am going to go to the tarot, and we have the Nine of Wands and we have the Hangman. And I feel like, because this is my section, my column of, who this could be for. If you are somebody that feels like you're kind of torn between this is how I feel. So I don't know if anybody listens to this, I apologize if it doesn't resonate with you. This is just me expressing where I'm at right now. And sometimes those type of messages need to come out. So whatever. But being defensive and being strong and standing up for what you believe in, and then also being in the flow and kind of receptive and relaxing and in that kind of non-aggressive way, of the Hangman, where you're kind of not allowing things to happen, but not allowing them to sway you. Because the Hangman, it's not about being, extremely passive. It's about stepping back and really paying attention to the details without getting absorbed. Because sometimes we can be that way, right? I'm one of those people that I have to constantly be on myself about that. And sometimes I allow myself to just go because it needs a release. But right now I am this Nine of Wands mixed with the Hangman right now. I am so torn between, wanting to be more active and strong about something, but also allowing myself to step back and kind of see how things maybe can be done in a different way. So there's that. And I don't think that there's much else I can do about that. This is just me observing those two parts of myself. And I feel like maybe that's what we need to do. So maybe those first two cards aren't so much about, other people. It might be about ourselves. How do we allow those parts of ourselves to exist without, being unbalanced? Because it's all about balance. So, and so my second column is about what we really need to focus on. So, and then we have the Nine of Cups, and then we have the Five of Wands, which is, again, it's funny because we have this watery, non-aggressive mixed with this, struggle and competition. So I feel like as something that we need to focus on what is blocking us. What is keeping us from the thing that is making us happy? Or are you happy right now? Are you happy with your life that this distraction that you have is not really worth it for you to kind of dive into? With the Five of Wands, a lot of times it's just playing. They're not really fighting. So not to say that some things that are distracting you aren't serious, but is it something directly affecting you at this moment to where it's enough to disrupt your life and your path and your happiness? So there's that. And then my third column is kind of where we kind of excel, what our assets are, what we can draw from. Sometimes I like to look at this too as not so much as what we already have, but maybe something that we can utilize. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles to me is always, especially in this card too, it's always about that person who is absorbed in what they're doing and they're focused and they're doing the work because they love what they're doing and it gives them joy, right? And then we have the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups is down there. And these are both you're an empathetic person. You're somebody who sees the troubles and you feel things, right? So that is an asset for you. But at the same time, you have the ability to kind of zoom in and focus in on what makes you happy. The Queen of Cups, a lot of times I give her a little bit of slack because, she's not as, staunch. Is that the right word? I don't know. But she's not as blocked off by her emotions as sometimes we can see the King of Wands, not always. But at the same time, she is able to be compassionate a lot of times and mature in her emotional, especially in this position, I feel, without allowing it to overtake her. This is where I've gained a lot of traction, I would say, in this. So I'm taking that. But also, you're somebody who, is focused on a goal, this goal that you want to do. You're allowed to let yourself be entranced with that. That's a positive thing. Like, you are able to really work on the thing that you're working on because it brings you joy. So remember that. It also speaks to me about intuition too, on really being intuitive in what brings you that kind of joy, right? What part of this are you able to kind of extract out of the situation that you might be feeling overwhelmed by or kind of conflicted by? What can you kind of balance that, because there's so much balance in this reading. It's crazy. But yeah, really trying to figure out how you can kind of extract that out of that kind of makes you feel where you are. Those 9 of Cups is, I think we're being asked to find out, how can, you can keep that happiness without that inner turmoil. How can you really kind of focus on those things that make you happy, and the focus on the goal that you're working for with those 8 of Pentacles without getting distracted and without getting caught up. Use that emotional maturity. And then my last column is kind of the advice in the last step, or the next step. And we have the 8 of Cups. And a lot of times the 8 of Cups, I always think of the 8 of Cups as, that's my more card. That's you already are appreciating those cups. There's so much that you've given in your life, or that you've kind of poured out. Either way, it depends on the situation. I think if you look at it in a negative way, it's these are things that you've poured out and you're done with that. But this does not feel negative. This is kind of it's very interesting that these are both very action-y cards right now, because, he's walking away from those cups that have kind of given him so much, but he wants more. So, that could be something where, you're walking away what doesn't serve you, and maybe getting wrapped up in something is not emotionally serving you, right? So, but also, explore more, explore what ways you can get your 9 of Cups. You can get your satisfaction and your fulfillment and your peace through that, right? Or your excitement, because I feel like this is not just about trying to keep the peace either. It's we have that 9 of Wands. It's somebody is wanting that spark. They're wanting that spiritual oomph, you know what I mean? But without a way that drags you down and makes you feel like you're just pouring yourself out, and that you're conflicted within yourself, right? I feel like that's what this is saying. And then we balance that again, with the 2 of Pentacles. The 2 of Pentacles is very much about kind of flowing the two things between. It's not so much about balancing independently. It's not so much about doing something where, you're just accepting. It's about being adaptable. And I feel like, especially, with the 8 of Cups here, there's so much movement. It's allowing yourself to dodge the negativity by transferring that energy, right? Allowing that when you're say that this little I think it's an is juggling these pentacles, you're transferring that energy into the next one, right? And then moving it back and forth. How can you do that to kind of fulfill this? Move this energy into a way that is more productive and more satisfying, and allows you to kind of stay in your zone. And then I have the last 2 cards. This is from my Mystical Shaman Oracle, because I love it so much. It's number 30 with lightning. And this is kind of like a tower card to me. I didn't have the book today because it just felt like I would just express what I feel like it feels. And we all know towers, they're usually, it's charged up energy that needs to be released. And when we have one of those moments in our life, it's because either we didn't release that charge, or it's just time for that charge to come. And I feel like a lot of times these are those moments. Especially right now, it's kind of things look scary and they look crazy, but at the same time, check in with your inner self. I'm calm right now, believe it or not. I don't know what it is. I'm just very hopeful. And the more you feel that, the more it grows. And, I'm not sure where I am on that concept, on where it is collectively in that way, but I do feel like there is something to that, where the collective conscious, if you are really able to kind of tap into that, it can grow. Because even if you don't want to look at it esoterically, if you're looking at, your reaction and another person sees, well, how can that person be so calm? I want to be like that too, right? So there's part of that. And then also we have to kind of think of lightning as when we have thunder and lightning. When lightning strikes the ground, if you have a garden or whatever, after a thunderstorm, I mean, it's like your body, I'm going to say body, but maybe that's for something. Maybe this is kind of like nourishing your body as well. Your garden will like take the, I think it's nitrates. I'm not sure, like all the aspect of it. But when it's in a thunderstorm and a lightning strikes, that garden gets a lot of nutrients out of it. And it's like like you watered it with some type of like, non-toxic Miracle Grow or whatever. It's just beautiful and it really helps your garden. So, again, we kind of have to think of like these shocking moments and these, times where I think we're kind of like needing to embrace change and go with the flow. And again, taking that energy from one side to the other and kind of transmuting it and really allowing the cyclical nature of life to really flow through the energy. Take that energy and move it into something positive. And then we have our bottom card, which is a herbal astrology oracle. And we have number 42 with Amanita, Conduit, channel, bridger of realities, connection to a higher power, celebration, coming home, family, and awakening. And this is Neptune, Pluto, and Mercury. So this is, all that spiritual, Neptune-y emotional and dreaminess and that spiritual essence, and Pluto going deep into those type of watery feelings and that kind of feelings, like, being very in depth and like those darker parts of ourselves we don't like to tap into, but we need to. And then Mercury, like really kind of being able to express that. So all of that, especially like right underneath this thunder card, or is it thunder or is it lightning? It's lightning, is beautiful. I really feel like that's a point here, is we're transmuting that. There's so much of like balance and stuff, but it's a lot of like, seeing how everybody kind of like goes through these things and really taking the ability to step back and understand how this can be transmuted into something. And again, we talk about like with the Tower card all the time about being something that needs, the Tower needs to be brought down in order to rebuild. And sometimes that whole process is scary and it's, there's a lot of disruption, and that energy can be transmuted into something beautiful. That lightning strike can be used and utilized as a conduit for positive change. That energy that's, being emanated, let's not allow it to be destruction. Let's allow it to be something positive and beautiful, and transform it into something that we want to see and that we want to create. So this is a little all over today, and I apologize, but, sometimes you got to like filter out your own stuff, right? There's like that first card. It's hard when you're feeling passionate, but sometimes those need to come out, and, whether you resonated or not, maybe I just needed to express it and see it for myself. So I hope this helps somebody. It's helped me. And if you know of anybody that might like that, don't be afraid to share. Like, subscribe, all the things, So you don't have to. I'm no pressure. But I hope this did help you, and I will talk to you later.